Next, from Web3 Foundation, we have Mr. Yusuke Obinata. He's going to talk with the title Past, Present, and Future Potential of Web3 in Japan. Obinata-san, please. Thank you. How are you doing? Are you well? I'm usually based in Europe, but 2 days ago, I just returned from Lisbon. And so I try to cheer myself up because I've got jet lag. So today, I'm going to talk about Web3 in Japan, past to the future. I'd like to make my presentation short. So about myself, from 4 or 5 years ago, I've been involved in starting up Web3 in Japan. Ethereum Japan is something I started. And so Web3 was proposed by Gavin Wood. I met Gavin Wood. And from there, that led to my joining Web3 Foundation. And 2020, I was engaged in the Polkadot launch. So I got some old pics. Gavin been coming to Japan for many years. He loves sukiyaki. So this is when we had sukiyaki together. So Web3 Foundation, what is it? Well, it was established by Gavin, Polkadot, public blockchain. So he has led that. And the Web3 Summit, a major conference in the Web3 industry, it was held in Berlin, 2018-19. Edward Snowden in the past were invited as speaker. And Polkadot, so it's the public blockchain to serve as a foundation for Web3. So Ethereum is layer 1. This should be layer 0. So general purpose public blockchain is what's being built. On top of it, various use case based independent blockchain can be deployed. That's how it's made. And so it is suitable for various applications, has great scalability. So that's the blockchain system that's being built here under Polkadot. So talk about the main topic today. So Web3 ecosystem. 4 or 5 years ago, I started to be engaged in the Japanese Web3. So let's go back to those times. What was the situation there in Japan? 4 or 5 years ago, actually, Japan was starting to become the center of Web3, was on the verge of becoming the center. So when I started, so we had this meetup. At that time, blockchain technology discussion was not so common. Everything was about speculation. But for the first time, we had this conference for engineers talking about smart contracts in January 2018. 200 people, mostly all developers, came together for this event. And so we saw the developer community expanding in Japan, and colleagues overseas saw that. And March 2018, Ethereum Japan official launch was conducted, and Viteris and Gavin and early members of Ethereum and project founders, major founders, they came together in Tokyo to do this kind of event. So this was a venue for those people to come together. And Gavin, he loves Japan. He's the proponent of Web3. So 2019, he came like 3 times a year, and he provided great stimulus to the Japanese developer community. However, after that, since then, in Japan, there's been various events and about the virtual currency. People had concern about its safety, security, and there's been strengthening of regulation. And so time has really stood still. So things have become stagnant since then. However, I think that thanks to Digital Garage and thanks to Ito-san, a wonderful event is being held, and there's more attention now toward this topic. And I think there is still opportunity for Japan to become a center of Web3. And I explain why. So the position of Silicon Valley is being shaken. So the hub city for Web3, well, up until Web2, it was Silicon Valley, only Silicon Valley. And there was this local concentration. I think that is starting to end. The reason is because from day one, it's global, people working fully remotely. And by country, by city, the crypto laws and regulations changes every 1 or 2 years. So based on those changes, and people are very mobile because they're startup entrepreneurs and investors. So they're moving to different places, like Zook in Swiss, Crypto Valley, or Singapore, Dubai, to those places. And up until Web 2, the small cities and countries that were in the shadow, they have a lot of potential, like El Salvador, who has made it official currency, or in the US, Miami, Austin, or Lugano in Switzerland. The mayor is leading the city to make crypto the official currency, so people are gathering there. And Lisbon in Portugal, where I was until 2 days ago, we're seeing great big community developing there. So just as an example, well, last year in Europe, Lisbon became a center of crypto in Europe. So Europe in Web3 has been a major center. It's an important market for developers, along with the US. And many developers in Berlin and Europe as general. And until last year, there was this concern that Germany was going to revise crypto taxation. And then so the developers moved to other cities, especially developers and investors went en masse to Lisbon. And so this is in the neighborhood of where I live. So Silicon Valley. So this crypto exchange is putting out this ad. So why did Lisbon suddenly become a center for Web3? Well, taxation, regulation is one thing. Not just that. As a city, it had a lot of advantages. So if you look at the taxation, Malta and Switzerland, they also have tax incentives. But Lisbon has organized the Web Summit, the biggest conference in Web 2. And so they have been inviting, and they have this rich culture, and security is good, and the food is great. So it's a very nice town. So Web 2 founders and developers, many of them are in the 20s, 30s, some in their teens, very young. So they don't move just for tax. It has to be a good city, and regulation and taxation has to be relatively good. That's where people congregate. So Japan, Tokyo. Well, there aren't any other cities with such great conditions. Anime, metaverse. I mean, crypto people love that kind of image of Tokyo, and also the food and security. There's no other city than Tokyo that has better standards in terms of food and security. And so if regulation and taxation are improved, then I think there is still a chance that Japan can be a center of Web3. So last time I came to Japan was April. I was invited by the LDP, Liberal Democratic Party. So I was asked to give a proposal about how to make Japan center of Web3. So here are the list of things I said. Taxation should be changed. And actually, so Web3 has been incorporated into the LDP policy proposal. So it is moving forward. And so Japanese people as a whole, I hope, can promote this kind of development. And so 4 or 5 years ago, going back to what I was saying, what was the driving force for Japan starting to become the center of Web3? When you think about it, what I thought was the youth, the young generation. the passion of the young generation. So this was August 2018. The CryptoKitties, the founders of that NFT, came together for this meetup that we organized. About 80% of them were students and those in their 20s, really young developers, and those who were interested in crypto and blockchain. Was really a lot of excited young people. And so the CryptoKitty founders talked with these people and felt that the passion, the level of passion was the strongest in Japan amongst all the Asian countries they visited. This is Ethereum Foundation. So Aya Miyaguchi, who leads that foundation, when she came, 200, 300 people came together, almost all students. So the really young generation are really going to take on new challenges with blockchain. And blockchain Web3 projects, I think worldwide, felt the potential in Japan. I think this triggered that the interest to be drawn to Japan. So I talked about some of the initiatives that the government should take. And so in order to make Japan a center, what should the young people do? So don't just live in Japan in Japanese, connect with the world and participate in events where the top-notch people from overseas come, and also send out the information in English, and then find mates globally with the same mission. And even if you're a minority in Japan, you'll find your colleagues abroad. And as a Japanese, achieve results in the world stage. I think that is the most important in changing the country and moving politicians. I think that's quite important. So in the first half, Sota Watanabe, you saw him 4 or 5 years ago when we were doing Web3 community. He was one of the students there working together with me. So more people like him, I think, is going to change Japan. They're going to impact Japan and the government. And so 2 months ago, this year, Watanabe and myself, when we were both in Japan, we organized a meetup for students, first time in 3-4 years. So you see so many people coming together. I mean, immediately, this number of people came together. It's a new generation starting to move forward in Japan. That's what I feel. And so we want to support the young generation. And if there are young people here, you are the main players. You are the main characters. And you can create a revolution in this Web3 world, and we want to work together with you. That's the message I want to give to you. And this is a phrase I love from Gavin, and with that, I'd like to close. And you hear the word, pen is mightier than the sword. Well, Web3 future, in the Web3 future, the keyboard is going to become mightier than the pen, is what he says. So for developers and those who make products in Web3 companies that does projects there, I mean, there is so much potential for them to change the world. And there is no better timing than now to change the world. So I encourage you, especially the young people, let's work together. And let us work together to support the young people so that the future of Web3 in Japan can be formulated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Obinata. And we'll be preparing the stage, so we would like to request your patience.